Let me have your attention for a minute. This is something for the ladies. I'm chilling with the queens of the Stoned Age.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in and welcome to Queens of the Stoned Age, the show where girls get stoned and talk to each other about stuff. Today, we are smoking on some lovely Green Angels weed from our friends at the Green Angels Delivery Service. You can find them at greenangels.buzz, B-U-Z-Z, www.greenangels.buzz, and they are actually not only open for deliveries, but they are trying to recruit new angels, so go check that out for sure if you want to sell weed, because it's pretty fun. I can testify to that. Today, our guest is Janice, who is the owner of the company DankGals. How are you doing, Janice?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for coming on to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So I wanted to start out just kind of talking a little bit about your background, how you specifically got started in cannabis. Was it pre-DankGals? Is DankGals your first venture into cannabis? So how did that begin?
So prior to DankGals, I actually was a behavior therapist for kids with autism.
Really? That's what I went to college for before I dropped out.
Yeah. And prior to that, I already had my, I started other businesses. So DankGals is actually my third.
Okay.
And so
other cannabis businesses or just businesses?
No, so cannabis business is my, so DankGals is my first cannabis business ever.
Okay.
And when I was a behavior therapist for kids with autism, one of my patients at the time actually was, I think she was about 2.5 or so. She was nonverbal. She couldn't really speak. Okay. She understood sign language, but she wouldn't sign them.
And that's something that happens with really severe autism. Is that right?
She wasn't very severe. She was on the mild spectrum.
I see.
But at the same time, her temper tantrums, though, would be over the top. When she has a temper tantrum, it will last for like 20 minutes. And it's just physically and emotionally draining for both the parents and herself.
Absolutely.
So that's where we come in and kind of like teach her what behaviors are wanted and what's not desired and things like that. So, I actually saw huge improvements one time. It was like right before summer break, I think. And I was like, I wonder if it's because summer's coming up and she's excited. And like, I know I'm a good therapist, but I didn't know I was that good for her charts to be like off the charts. And so I talked to the mom, and then the mom was like, oh yeah, I do notice that she's signing more sign language. And she was able to achieve longer periods of eye contact. Otherwise, I would have to do this with her every time I wanted her to look at me.
Like you'd have to literally sort of like hold her
hand and go like this. I mean, sorry, hold her head and go like that. And she had less tantrums. That was like the number one thing that got me super excited.
And so
about.
why was that happening?
So her mom was saying like, Janice, if I tell you, cannot tell your supervisors or anything. And she said she was using cannabis oil on her daughter in her snacks before my visits. It was home visits because she wasn't able to make it to this to the sessions.
Wow. Yeah. See, I've read a little bit about cannabis being helpful for autistic people, but I never either didn't read enough in depth or wasn't able to find.
Yeah, there's not enough research.
Yeah.
There's just not enough research. But I know that UC San Diego, I think they got funded. Was it $4 million? I think it was last year or 2 years ago on autism research.
I can't remember
with
how
cannabis.
much, but yeah. Yeah.
So that inspired me to research more into cannabis for like health and wellness and all that.
Like on the medical side.
Yeah, on the medical side of things. And I am into all things wellness. So I was super intrigued, and I started DankGals actually because I wanted to raise awareness of women using cannabis in the cannabis space. So to me, it just felt like the mom just wanted to achieve longer eye contact with the daughter. And
they wanted their daughter to not suffer,
Yeah, exactly.
you know?
Exactly. And why does she have to be like hush-hush about it, you know?
Right.
She was like, don't tell anyone, like don't put this in your chart, don't put this in your notes and stuff. And so I just felt really bad for her.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you saw what a difference it actually was making, and that it was like it wasn't like they were just getting their kids stoned because they wanted to.
Exactly. Exactly. And plus, on top of that, like if you don't talk about it, you're never going to learn other things about it. Like what else can this plant do for you, for your child or whatever?
Absolutely. So, right. Because even if you don't have autism, you know, I'm sure that cannabis could be helpful for certain attributes that come along with autism, right?
Right. Also, it helps the parents with stress too.
Yeah, definitely.
Lot. And she was a lot nicer.
Yeah. I'm like that too.
So that's that. And then I started DankGals because I wanted it to create a space for women to be able to like share and talk, and also not to be hidden in the space.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so tell us
doing something that they just wanted to try.
I'm doing something that is totally safe, that is, not gonna cause any liver problems the way alcohol would, that has a lot of benefits,
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about DankGals, what it was when you started and what it is now.
So I started at the time I had an apartment, and I know a lot of people start like in their garage and stuff. I didn't have a luxury, to have a garage.
Were you in Los Angeles?
I was in Alhambra actually.
Okay.
So, but my apartment was on the 3rd floor, so I actually stored all my stuff in the parking garage, like my parking structure.
And the stuff being actual weed or just like pipes?
No weed. Yeah,
Okay.
pipes and glass and things like that. And then I would be like packing and making shipments in the parking garage, and I would use the cardboard boxes to kind of make like a
cubicle.
like a little cubicle, so that the cars don't hit me.
That's so funny.
But I would have people like hunking at me all the time and stuff. So I started out with smoking accessories.
And so what year was this when it sort of started?
It was like end of 2013, 2014,
Okay.
and then DankGals, the name and logo, everything didn't really come into place until 2015.
Okay.
So that's when we had our first trade show at Champs Trade Show, and it was all men. And I would have buyers that come by, and they're just like, "Oh, let me order that. I love your prices. I love your quality. Let me order that when your boss comes back." And at the time, I was like I think I was like 24.
Like, I'm all you get. Like, come on.
But I knew there's no point to argue with them anyway.
Yeah.
So I was just like, oh, my boss is not here, so I'm like in charge. You can talk to me, and then I'm like super professional, and my girls are super trained.
Right, because in the second you're like, I am the boss, they're like, wow, like girl boss, like cool, and it's like, all right, like that, you don't have to do that either.
Exactly, and I don't like that. I don't like being called like girl boss, boss babe, or boss bitch. Like I'm just a boss, and that's it.
Yep. Because when men are bosses, they're just bosses, right? They're not like again, I can't even think of a male version of it, but yeah, no one's like, oh, you're a boss bitch.
Yeah.
Like it's.
Yeah, like why do you have to add the bitch next to it? Like I don't.
It's not necessary. Yeah, exactly. Like I have nothing against that word necessarily, but like you don't have to add it here. It doesn't describe much. Like,
yeah. So that's really what DankGals was in the beginning. I was trying to raise awareness, but at the same time, you can't really brand a new brand. It's really tough without any services, without any products.
Right.
So, at first I was thinking about doing events. And so all these things, but I just combined it all. So we started doing cannabis yoga events in LA.
Okay.
And we're still doing them in LA, but more creatively with our new add-on with Karima's help.
Oh, great.
We're doing a lot of, say, cannabis yoga, but neon, like glow in the dark. So we just had
We actually had a booth at one of these events, and it was so much fun. We had a great time.
Anthony was great. Everyone, it was so much fun.
Yeah.
And then there's always a hidden concept and message behind it, and it's really to let the cannabis space and the people know that the light comes from you guys, because we turn off all the lights and everyone's just glowing. It was beautiful.
Because it's like body painting, right?
Yes,
You're like,
body paint.
that's amazing. And it really was a very cool thing to see all those people doing the same yoga poses with all of like the different glowing body paint. That's
taught by
wonderful.
Anna, our instructor.
Yeah, she's fantastic too. She handed out joints, which I always appreciate.
Yeah, she had this like huge bowl of candy. She's like, oh, it's a candy. I'm giving you joints.
I thought it was literal candy, and I was like, oh my God, it's joints. Like, you are the love of my life. I'm obsessed with you. So you guys now at this point are doing, you sell
a lot of online
and
accessories, a lot of CBD wellness products, beauty products. We test all of them before we get them online. So it's not just like a pricing. It's not just a pricing thing, and it's not just like how much margins can we get.
It's like a product that you believe in.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of wholesalers, business people, they just want to see how much they can make, and then they'll just be like, okay, let me just put that on our website. But for us, our team of girls, there, and Gio, we're all very experienced, and it's
so
just
Gio
kind of like,
is really the only not girl on your team.
yeah.
I love
girls
that.
and Gio.
Love that.
So we all try them out, and everyone has different experiences with them, you know, so which is great. That's how you kind of know.
Right. Because everyone's a different type of stoner, you know? Maybe some people like to smoke blunts like me, or they like a pipe or a bowl or
dab rig and
what
stuff.
have you, right? Or a dab rig, exactly, if you're a little bit more intense than I am. I like dabs when somebody else is setting it up for me, but I feel like the lazy stoner takes over when I try to do it myself. I'm like, this is too much work. Like, I can't handle it. Like,
do you heat it up with the torch, or do you use
I actually recently got gifted an e-nail, so I'm just like
so
now
much
kind
more
of trying.
convenient.
It's more convenient, definitely. I still
low
need
temperature
to exactly, and I can just set up the temperature. Like I'm a little intimidated by the torches, to be honest. Do you dab?
Here and there, very little, because if I dab, I'm like out. for the entire night.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have to be on.
Yeah,
So
totally.
I can't be off.
Definitely.
So
Yeah.
if someone needs something, I'm like responding and I have to have a clear mind. So
Yeah.
I don't nap as much.
Yeah, that makes sense because sometimes even like us stoners have to, work also, unfortunately.
And you know what? I'm really jealous at the ones that can smoke and get super stoned and work at the same time.
I think I might be one of those people sometimes.
Yeah?
I definitely smoke during the day and I can still get shit
Drive?
done. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I can drive.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
wow.
but I smoke like a lot of pot and I started when I was very young. So, anyways,
You're an expert. You're experienced now.
Yeah, exactly. I'm an expert from long before it was legal or okay to do. And so I was hearing that you are starting another line of products now that are going to be on DankGals, and it's a
yeah.
skincare line. Is that right?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that.
So it's Kana Skincare. It's a CBD-infused Korean skincare line that's already on DankGals. Actually, we launched last year, 2017 Christmas.
Okay.
So it hasn't been a year, almost a year. We've been getting really, really great feedback.
Yeah.
The products are really premium.
And so what sorts of
ingredients.
products are they?
So there's sleeping masks. Have you heard of them?
I have. In fact, I for a while did the whole 10-step Korean skincare routine, and I
Yeah?
still use a snail on my face every single day.
Yeah, so I heard the snails work really well, and I've used them too. But the thing is, our products are fully vegan, and I want to.
Oh, great. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Fully vegan, plant-based. I just want them to know that plant-based green skincare can also be really, really effective.
Definitely.
You don't have to go look for animal fats or whatever else. you
Yeah.
know.
Right, like bee venom, that's like, right? Like one is
Yeah.
really popular. I've never tried it. But
No, and a lot of serums, a lot of people put that in there,
Yeah.
like larger corporations. And
Yeah.
you really don't have to. Like for us, we have this really effective serum. It's called EGF plus CBD,
Okay.
epidermal growth factor. So that is actually from barley plant.
Oh.
But a lot of other companies would take that, but from animal fats.
But you can get it from barley.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And
So
is
it's
it
a
just like a
Korean
little
formulation.
more? Right.
Yeah,
And
it's
so what
fully
does it do?
plant-based. So it stimulates the cell growth at it stimulates the skin growth at a cellular level. It just
Okay.
makes you more plumped and bouncy.
So it's kind of like a retinol or something like that, a little bit.
Better.
Better, yeah. Oh
Kinda
wow,
like
I'm gonna have
that,
to
but
try that
better.
out. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go
I'll have to
online and
send
give me
you
one
some.
of those. Yeah, please do. I definitely went through like a massive phase where I was like, oh, 10-step skincare routine. Like I'm obsessed with
Yes.
skincare.
So-
Like yes, please.
But did you really have time for the 10 step?
I tried it a couple of nights and then it was like those nights were weekend nights and then I went
You
to
had
work and came
time.
back and I was like, no. Like this is far too much for me. But I do some of the steps still, like the double cleansing I really like.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
The exfoliating.
And so do you were you as obsessed with skincare as I am before you started this company and that's why?
Yeah, so when I was small, my mom always made her own organic skincare from like whatever's left over at the fridge, right?
Oh, wow,
so
like she
just,
made it herself. That's
yeah,
so cool.
if there's milk, honey, and
Right.
like avocado, she'll like, oh, mix something up, and that's a
Right, make a
face
little
mask
mask.
for both of us. And it was a really fun mother and daughter experience. And at the same time, everything's really organic and fresh. So to me, when I was small, I was like, are we poor? Like, how come my parents' moms are like going to these malls?
Poor?
Yeah, and I was so scared to ask. I think I held that question in for like 6 months or so.
That
And
is
finally,
so
when
funny.
I asked, I was like, so and so's mom actually just bought SK2 from like the mall and like
We make it at home.
Yeah, I'm like, are we okay? My mom was like, oh yeah, totally. It's because
I'm just smart. That's what she said.
It's because she has really sensitive skin.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. So she needs to kind of know exactly what's being put
What's
into
going
it.
in there, and it has to be fresh.
Right. That makes sense.
So, for Kana skincare, my first product, I wanted to recreate that mother and daughter experience for face masking.
that's so
it's
sweet.
28 active botanicals, full spectrum CBD.
Okay.
With so it's a sleeping mask. They sleep with it, and they don't have to like wash it off and then do the
Right.
10 step.
Can you explain kind of like for people who don't know what a sleeping mask is made
okay.
of and how it works and all of that?
Do you know what a sleeping mask is?
I do personally because I'm obsessed, but I think a lot of people listening to this are more weed smokers and less
Yeah.
face mask doers.
Okay.
So.
So it's funny. It's like putting weed on your face, but it literally is. So you would pretty much wash your face, exfoliate, tone, and then you would just apply the face mask. And the face mask is really, it's not a sheet mask. It's kind of like a night treatment, but it's super rich.
Okay.
It's rich in...
More like a clay mask.
No. So it's not rich in texture. It's rich as in the nutrients, the nutrition is very, very rich.
Got it.
So it's 28 active botanicals. And then you do see, I mean, I don't want to claim that you see overnight results, but a lot of beauty experts have been saying that they see overnight results,
Wow,
which is amazing.
Yeah.
It's to hydrate and brighten your skin. So you just apply and it absorbs really fast. You go to sleep.
Right.
The next day, you kind of wash off with warm water. It doesn't harden or anything like that.
It's kind of more like a moisturizer almost.
Yeah, like a really rich night treatment. And yeah, that's it. It's really easy. Like I personally am so busy and I'm like on the go all the time.
Same.
So I really did not like the 10, 12 step.
It's tough, right? Because I mean, for those of you who don't know, there is a, I guess it's really been popularized in America just very recently because Americans are not great at taking care of their skin. Wear sunscreen, people. It's important. I
know. I'm like, I want a tan. And I'm in Asia. They're like, oh my God, you don't have an umbrella.
See, like my mom has very fair skin and my dad is Mexican, so I'm half Mexican. So I don't have as fair skin as her.
Skin. I don't know if you guys can see, but her skin is fantastic.
So do you. It's all makeup. Don't look. But, you know, my mom was always very concerned about the sun growing up. And I, as a result, became like also extremely concerned. And so like my husband will like walk outside and I'm like, no, hold on. And I just like put sunscreen on his face like without his permission. I'm like, you just stay right there. Like, it's fine. Like, you'll thank me later.
But it is important.
It is.
And
it's really
the
important.
sun is like the number one cause to aging too. A lot of women don't know until they're like maybe 40s, 50s. And they're like, look at these lines and look at these, you know, no.
Yeah,
sunspots, all these things.
Right. It's not smiling. It's not laughing. It's the sun.
You could have prevented it.
Not that there's anything wrong with aging because that's beautiful too. But you know, I think there is ways that you can take care of your skin that a lot of people don't.
You can age slower.
Exactly. Yeah, totally. And so, what kind of effect does the weed specifically have in these products?
So the full spectrum CBD actually is
right. So it's not THC. It's CBD. I keep saying weed, but it is really just like the isolated CBD, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's
comes from weed.
Yeah, it's a full spectrum, so it's not isolate. And we didn't. Well, at first we wanted to use the whole THC aspect in it, like 0.3, less than 0.3%.
Right.
But now I want
to have in it.
In the U.S. But in Europe it's 0.2. And in Japan it's like 0.002 or something crazy. Don't quote me, but something very low. So we are actually getting ready to launch internationally. So I just wanted to. Yeah, so I just wanted to make that very clear and just be like, okay, we're going to strip away the THC and CBD itself. All that stuff is really, really good. Yeah, all the cannabinoids are really good. And the different terpenes, too.
Yeah. And so do the terpenes work well for your skin as well, like in addition to the cannabinoids?
Yes, and I'm researching more into it. So that might be my next project. I won't say anything. But
exciting.
So it has all the omega-3, 6, and 9, and it has vitamins A through E.
Okay.
And it's super hydrating, and it's anti-inflammatory. Everyone knows that. So if you have a pimple or something, some redness, you put that on. Actually, overnight or just a few days if it's more severe, you do see that it reduces.
Okay, and this because the CBD itself has anti-inflammatory properties, right? Okay, got it. And that works, you know, obviously internally.
Well.
Yeah, right, exactly. It
works too well.
Like, right, I'm deflated now. That's what happens.
And I take CBD daily, tinctures and stuff, like 3-4 times daily. Okay. So I feel like that helps with my skin too.
I would believe it. How do you take your CBD daily?
Tinctures.
Okay, so do you just drop that in like a drink or in your food or under your tongue?
Just under my tongue.
Yeah? And do you have any like particular
favorite
tinctures,
brands?
like, or just particular ingredients that you, or brands, either way.
Can we say brands up here?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, so I really like 2 brands right now. The rest I'm still testing, so I don't want to say it unless they're like really good. But I really like Papa and Barkley.
Okay.
And Sisters of the Valley.
Oh. Yeah. Good to know. Yeah, and so what do you microdose CBD for? We actually had somebody on here talking about microdosing a few episodes ago.
For me, if it works on me, I think it'll work on anyone. Every time I get my period, I have to take like a bottle, or I used to have to take like a bottle of Advil.
Same.
It was really bad.
It's awful,
and then in college, I couldn't get out of bed for class. I would just be out for like 5 days.
Yeah.
And it hurt so much that like one time I actually fainted in a bathroom when I was having a meeting with Chill Hits. So I was having a meeting with them, and then the guy texted me like, "Where are you?" And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm in the bathroom." And then the women's bathroom, there was a code. So I texted him in the code. I was like, "Come get me." And I was like literally down on the floor. This was just May of this year.
Wow. See, people really don't realize how fucking severe it gets.
It was so crazy. And it came all of a sudden. I wanted to throw up and I wanted to poop and I wanted to faint and I was sweating all at the same time. But none of that happened. I'm just saying,
that's
like,
good. You wanted to though. Yeah.
I felt all of that at the same time. And it was I just dropped down. And the guys came, and then one of the guys used to be an RN.
Wow. So he was like, I've
It
seen
was
this
my-
before.
It
I
was my
know.
lucky day. He's like, Janice, we're gonna take you to urgent care, and so I ended up at urgent care at Pasadena.
Wow. And what did they help you?
So they totally helped me. They stayed with me the entire day until like 8 p.m. and
Mm-hmm.
that happened at 12. So they were with me pretty much all day.
Wow.
In the urgent care. I know. So thank
God
you guys.
bless nurses. Yeah. Nurses are like the backbone of society. We need them
Yes.
so badly.
Seriously. So after that, I was more serious about CBD tinctures and things like that. At first, I was like, oh, yeah, it works. But after that, I was like, I am on the hunt to
Yeah,
find
like
something
the
that
tincture.
truly works.
Right.
Yeah. And since then, I haven't taken an Advil.
Wow. Amazing. And so do you generally use tinctures that are straight CBD or that like are like full plant and have a little bit of other cannabinoids in it?
Papa and Barkley actually has like 3-1 or
Okay.
30-1, I believe. I've tried them all.
So those are the ratios of CBD to THC. Okay, got it. And so
Yeah.
which ratio do you like the best?
It depends, really. I like the ones with more CBD. 30-1, because I think that really helps with my pain.
Yeah, more pain relieving, definitely, for sure.
And for Sisters of the Valley, they have this self that really helps with the pain too. So it's a combination of things.
Okay, got it.
I'm trying out other brands, and let me know if you know of any too.
Oh, I definitely will.
Yeah?
I'm sure.
Okay.
I mean, I can't think of them at the moment, but after this, I'll write some down for you.
Thanks.
And so for your CBD skincare brand, do you have anything in there that is specifically for pain, or is that specifically just for
beauty
nice
and
skin?
skincare.
Yeah. And so you mentioned you have the,
Nice skin.
yeah, for beautiful skin.
Yeah, mostly for skin, and it's just really skincare and beauty, and to repair. I don't want to say damages on the skin, but it is because when you go out, and honestly, LA,
Sun damage, dirt,
environmental
everything.
toxins are
Yep.
so bad now.
Smog. Oh, yeah,
Smog.
absolutely.
Yeah, so when you go back, actually try this one day. If you work in the city and then you come home, just don't wash your face yet. Just take a tissue and then just wipe your face. It'll probably be gray.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
God, I hate to think
So-
about that. That's so horrible. It's true, though. It's good to know.
But you know
'cause-
what? In Asia, it's even worse. Like after a long day, if they work in the city, they come home, they blow their nose. It's all black.
Oh
or
my
gray.
God, that is horrifying.
Yeah.
And so you're Korean, is that
I
right?
am Chinese Korean,
Chinese
but born
Korean?
and raised in Dallas.
Okay, got it. And so have you tried to sell any of these products or like,
Oh,
market
hell
these products like
no.
in
Asia?
in Asia, yeah.
Not what, like the glass? No,
Like
but
the-
CBD skincare, yes,
Yeah.
we're actually launching in Asia.
You are?
in 2019.
And
yeah.
so what is the
because it only has CBD in it, so they're
right.
they're okay.
That's become legal in South Korea just recently, right? To have CBD
Yes.
there.
Yeah.
And so what has the reception been like? Are South Korean people generally knowledgeable about weed or not as much?
We are actually targeting. We're actually working with China first before
Okay.
South Korea.
Got it.
Slowly moving over there.
Right.
But you see them on the two ends of the spectrum with the Koreans. There's a large group of them that are cannabis advocates and that want to legalize it. I mean, it already became medical legal just as of like 2-3 weeks ago.
Oh yeah, so weed just in general now you can get it medicinally for certain conditions.
But only if you're like severely ill. That there's still very much
the qualifying
controlled.
conditions. There's very few of them.
And then I know that there's like 3 CBD labs over there now. They're just like researching, which is a great first step, I
Definitely,
think. So
yeah, step in the right direction for sure. That's like great to hear. And so in China, what is it like?
in China, so they actually are okay with hemp, industrial hemp CBD. And I think because they understand all the herbal medications and herbal medicine.
That makes
so if you
sense.
explain to them the cannabis, the difference between cannabis and hemp, they're like, oh, yeah, we understand.
Right.
And because there's 0% THC in ours, they're very okay with it.
Oh, that's great. And so as long as it's derived from hemp, then it's legal there. Is that right? And so you haven't been seeing too much of like a cultural backlash from that or anything?
Not really as of yet, but I mean, you have to target the larger cities first, obviously,
Right.
the more popular ones, and the people who are, there are a lot of foreigners, and so they know more about cannabis.
Right,
and then
right.
it'll slowly spread out.
Right. That makes sense. And so, yeah, I mean, in South Korea, I guess recently it was legalized because of Epidiolex, right, which is the anti-seizure medication. And in order to have that shipped there, I think that was part of why they decided to make it legal to begin with. But now, I think like literally just an hour ago, the hemp farm bill passed, which means that CBD will, and this will be coming
While we
out
were in
after.
here?
Like,
Oh
yeah,
my
I think it was
God.
like literally right before we came in here. So when you're listening to this episode, it'll be like a while after, and you'll probably already know about this. But I just got
nice.
like 3 texts and like a news alert, like CBD is going to be legal for the first time in like 100 something years.
Wow.
So that's probably good news for you guys, I would imagine, right?
yes,
Are there
definitely.
a lot of like loops and like holes that you have to navigate and go through to be able to sell hemp CBD online as of now?
As of right now, no.
No, it's not a huge pain.
It's not a huge pain.
I read about the regulations and I'm like, wow, that
Yeah.
seems like a huge pain.
Yeah, there's a lot of things here and there, and I think with the FDAs, we just can't not make any claims. And then also on
Totally.
the packaging, I actually threw out my first set of packaging. We had like 1,000 of them, or like
no.
more maybe, because we have like 1,000 each SKU. Okay, I don't want to count the math, but it's 4,000.
Oh my
packaging, so I
God.
just threw away
Because it wasn't regulation packaging?
because it's like cannabidiol on it. But now that it's like regulated as medical, as not medical, pharmaceutical. Sorry.
Okay.
So we have to write like phytocannabinoid or full spectrum or something like that. And then, yeah, so I had to change that.
I see. Yeah, the packaging is like a really crazy thing. There's been
is.
like, I've read a couple of things recently about just how terrible it is for the environment, a lot of the packaging in Canada especially, just because they have to have plastic containers and they can't, open a certain way. So it's just like extra plastic basically.
Yeah. Wow.
In
Canada,
the world.
it's not even legal.
In Canada?
Yeah, CBD is not even legal in Canada.
Isn't it? I think weed in general
THC
is legal, right?
But not CBD.
Not CBD?
I
Is
was
that
just
true?
I was just in
Wow.
Whistler snowboarding like two weeks ago, and I was like, I need some CBD for my pain, and she's like, oh, it's not legal here.
It's not legal to isolate CBD, even though
Yeah.
But like if you had like a weed nug that had CBD in it, that's legal in Canada.
Then I guess that should be legal. Yeah, but
Right.
it cannot be like by itself.
Oh, right, because they can't have concentrates at all, right? And so-
Colorado's like that too. Like you cannot,
Oh.
like in the dispensaries, you cannot find anything that it doesn't have THC in it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So here's a funny
So like
thing.
a bath bomb with only CBD, they can't be sold there.
Interesting. That's so funny.
Yeah,
That's so funny. Yeah, in Canada, we had a writer write an article about this recently. But interestingly enough, the laws in Canada, the way they're written, says that you can't have any concentrates, any cannabinoid concentrates, but you can have cannabis oil.
What?
And so I looked at that and I was like, those are the same fucking thing, right? Like that's like what the fuck is the
Yeah,
difference?
we say the same thing, but
yeah, and it's
what
like
they
you
meant.
can't like have edibles either. So it's like, I imagine when they say an oil, they mean like what you do with a butter, right? Where you're infusing the weed into it.
That's
but
interesting.
That's also not legal. And so how like would a weed butter count as an oil or would it count as an edible or right? Isn't that
Yeah,
weird? I
yeah.
feel like people who don't know anything about weed wrote the laws.
Yes.
And so
I hope they're listening to this.
yeah, right? Yeah, if you're listening to this, call us. We know what we're talking about. We can help you out. And so you were mentioning DankGals has been around since, what was it? It was like 2013?
End of 13, but 14 was kind of like experimental stage, and it's so really 15.
Okay, and so like, what have you, since you've started, I think the industry in the past couple of years specifically has changed so much. It's been
Yes,
crazy.
yes.
What differences have you seen specifically for female-owned weed companies in the industry in the time between then and now?
So really, I am so happy to see more and more female-owned companies coming out, and I am so happy also to see that there's like support groups for them.
Yeah.
In the beginning, when I started, I actually couldn't really find any other female-owned businesses.
Wow, like you literally...
Yeah, not really.
Okay.
Like maybe they were just starting out around the same
Right.
time, but everybody that I talked to, everybody that I met, they were all men, which is okay. They helped me a lot, but it's just a different journey. They didn't
Definitely.
understand like where you're coming from and things, and like
Yeah.
what you're trying to change. I
Right,
still
and the
remember,
difficulties that you face that
yeah,
they don't.
Yeah, and I still remember one of my buyers saying like, Janice, you're doing all these things for what? Why don't you just put a more masculine, is what he said, a more masculine label on it
Yeah.
instead of saying DankGals? Why not just dank? Just take the gal away. And I was like, why?
Yeah.
The whole thing
Yeah.
of why, the whole reason and the purpose of why I'm doing this is not just to make money on products,
Right.
but I wanted to spread awareness of women who want to use cannabis, positively.
Right.
And
Right, there's a goal behind it. There's
yeah,
a mission.
There is a
yeah.
goal, and the mission is not
And
just
it's not
selling
just money,
products.
right.
Exactly. And if you wanted to just make money, there's so many things that you can do to make money.
Absolutely, right. Go into finance if you want to make money.
Yeah, faster, but easier, and also not have to go through the legal issues.
Right, 100%. Yeah, owning a cannabis company, and especially as a woman, is not easy. And especially, in a time when, the industry is still very male-dominated, but back
Very.
then it was even worse. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And now I see more women-owned businesses. I'm just really happy for everyone to come out and form that bond with
Definitely.
each other. And this is probably the only industry that I see women not sabotaging each other for like, well, you know, like there's more sisterhood and jealousy and whatever. Like, that's why I love this industry so much too.
Why do you think that is, that there's kind of more sisterhood than, because I've experienced the same thing myself, definitely.
Yeah, and I think besides that, the cannabis industry, people are just more kind in general.
Yeah.
I think they're in it for a bigger purpose.
Right. I mean, I think a lot of people who are in it now, you know, are people who just 2-3 years ago were doing something that was illegal, you know, that was not allowed. And so I think that like having been a group of people who you know, are used to working in an illegal industry does make you a little bit kinder. It makes you a little more empathetic, right? It's like you kind of have to, if you're in an industry that isn't regulated by the government or isn't regulated by any higher forces, you have to work with one another to be able to have it be fair and good and nice. And so like, you know, I remember when I was younger trying to buy weed and be some weird dude showing up to your house, you know, how much he's charging you or what's in the bag or anything like that, you know? And like when I started working in a dispensary, I was like, oh,
you worked at a dispensary.
I did, yeah. I worked in a dispensary for about a year when I want to say I was like 19. So this was in LA. Yeah, actually right by where offices are in Playa del Rey now. Yeah, and it was, you know, it was kind of the Wild West back then with medical and all of that. And so
you were brave.
We had security and stuff, so it was fine. But it was actually, I mean, I'm not somebody who would be very happy in a regular office environment, I think, you know, like
Me too.
yeah, right. I think we probably both have that in common. And I think a lot of women in the industry have that in common, which is probably part of why there's so much sisterhood. I mean, I know that I meet so many women who, you know, like me, had worked in office environments before. I used to work in publishing. Like, I get what, like, a traditional office environment is like. And it made me fucking crazy. I was like, oh, my God, like, I can't, like, talk normal. I can't, like, wear shoes that are comfortable. Like,
I can't be in a cubicle.
Yeah, it's like, it's depressing, right? Like, I'm not down. And at least, you know, the Mary Jane offices are offices, but you get to...
It's very creative. You get to express your own ways of,
Exactly. And I think maybe something about that, you know, has drawn a bunch of women in who didn't thrive in office environments, didn't like it, you know, even if they did thrive. And maybe that is sort of why there's more sisterhood and less competition.
And
you know?
I think a lot of people who are founders too, they are doing it for a bigger cause. For example, like when I started DankGals, it was really because of a personal experience, right? It was because I saw how my patient grew so much, improved so much. And there are a lot of mothers that are starting like tincture companies that I know. It's also because their child has used cannabis oil and it really helped them in certain ways. And so they're in it for a bigger cause, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Janice. You were a fantastic guest. And definitely check out DankGals.com. Go get
and CannaSkincare.com.
And Canna Skincare, that's C-A-N-N-A.
Oh, it's actually K-A-N-A.
K-A-N-A, got it. So Canna Skincare, is there a website that they can check out?
CannaSkincare.com.
K-A-N-A skincare.com.
Yes.
Go check it out. They have some dope stuff. I'm definitely going to buy it as soon as we wrap here.
Thank you.
Bye.
I'm chilling with the queens of the Stone Age.